It is 7:55 am. In every military doctrine, a psychologically shattered soldier is a defective asset, a liability. The solution is clean, cold, and entirely logical. Sign the medical discharge. Discard the asset. There is no room for emotion. But look at the man holding the pen. A 52-year-old colonel. A weapon forged through 34 brutal years inside the French Foreign Legion. A man whose hands have squeezed trigger in the pitch-black jungles of Central Africa is now hesitating over a routine administrative form. Why would a ruthless commander suddenly reject a perfectly logical order? Because the medical file states this young soldier was broken in the deserts of Mali. And looking at that name, the colonel realizes a terrifying secret that military manuals never print. He didn't break from weakness. He is drowning under the exact psychological weapon this institution deliberately wired into his brain. The colonel stares at the red ink on the file. Severe nervous exhaustion. The psychiatrists think he failed, but the colonel knows he didn't fail. He simply fractured under the weight of a process. Designed perfectly, 34 years ago. Memory pulls him back. Castelnaudary. The farm. 5 a.m. is not a time. It is a physical punishment. There is dark, and then there is noise. And the gap between the two is so razor thin. Your body learns to stop expecting a warning. You stand at attention before your brain even registers that you are awake. The Legion does not feed you to make you comfortable. It fuels you to keep you operational. This system doesn't build character. It is an engine of removal. It hunts down the version of you that existed before the excuses, strips away your name, your nationality, your mother tongue, and scrapes you hollow until nothing remains but a blank slate. People think the white KPI is a reward. It isn't. When the sergeant places it on your head in the 4th week, it is a psychological anchor. You have officially surrendered your right to be a normal human being, becoming the property of an institution that never apologizes. He turns to the 2nd page. The report details the soldiers' severe claustrophobic panic attacks. The colonel's vision blurs. The memory drags him to the Central African Republic. Bangui, midsummer. The equatorial heat compresses your chest. Red laterite dust works its way into your collar, down your rifle barrel, into the corners of your eyes. An afternoon patrol. Your team steps into a courtyard and finds 30 locals standing absolutely still, staring at a closed door. The corporal raises a fist. Everyone stops. From inside the room, there is a crash of breaking glass. Then nothing. 4 minutes pass that feel like 40. It is here you learn a brutal truth. Time does not move at a consistent rate. When you are waiting for a bullet to fly out of the dark, time stops passing. It accumulates. It presses down on your nervous system. Military theory claims bravery is the absence of fear. Reality dictates otherwise. The fear never leaves. You simply learn to move while it eats you from the inside out. The soldier in this file isn't a coward. His nervous system simply absorbed too much of that terrifying silence until it couldn't hold another drop. The file notes Operation Barkhane Veteran, rank section leader. The colonel's jaw tightens. Staff officers in Paris view rank as an achievement, but the men who bleed in the sand know that non-commissioned officer stripes are the most dangerous weapon the military can wrap around a man's neck. When you are a private, you only worry about your own heartbeat. When you are a section leader, you stand squarely between your men and the grave. 11 minutes of sustained gunfire on a nameless dirt track in Mali. The enemy wears no uniform. The dust is blinding. You are screaming on the radio, calling firing angles, checking ammunition, all while your brain is being carpet bombed by adrenaline. When the guns finally stop, nobody is dead. You check your rifle. You swallow warm water. You say, absolutely nothing. Your men look at you with total, uncompromising trust. The final minute. His pen touches the paper, hovering right over the dotted line. One stroke of ink. And this soldier is stripped of his white KPI, erased from the Legion, and ejected into the civilian world like a piece of defective machinery. Signing it protects the flawless reputation of the regiment. But if he signs it, everything this army stands for is a lie. He glances toward the display case in the hall. The wooden hand of Captain Jean Danjouth, Legion's most sacred relic. The man who, in 1863, ordered 62 legionnaires to fight to the death against 2,000 Mexican soldiers. Every year, the modern military parades that hand, drinking wine to honor the men who refuse to surrender. This system worships the men who die with honor, but it has absolutely no idea what to do with the men who survive, sacrifice their minds, and cannot put the pieces back together. It is a ruthless paradox. He does not sign the discharge. With a cold, violent slash of ink, the 52-year-old colonel crosses out the medical board's recommendation. He writes directly over it in plain, blunt language: denied. Reassigned to garrison. Initiate reintegration. He has just laid a 34-year career on the chopping block to catch one falling pawn. There is no ceremony, no audience. The young soldier will never know that at 8:00 a.m. on a Wednesday, a man he has never met defied entire military doctrine to save his life. The most important decision of the colonel's life is one that requires no applause. Because doing the right thing, when it finally becomes a reflex, stops needing to be seen. He closes the file. The invisible pressure in the room vanishes, leaving behind an eerie, heavy relief. The French Foreign Legion is a meat grinder. It erases your identity, exhausts your body, and pushes your nervous system to the absolute edge of insanity. But it has survived for centuries because of one critical flaw in its own doctrine. The French Foreign Legion breaks its men, but the men put each other back together. And halfway across the world, another military machine realized a far more terrifying truth. They realized that the most efficient way to win a global war wasn't to train units to fight together. It was to design a system that intentionally treated soldiers like disposable spare parts. No friends, no unit cohesion. You are dropped into a frontline trench where nobody knows your name, and nobody wants to learn it because you will probably be dead by Tuesday. Click the video on your screen to step inside the coldest industrial meat grinder in modern history, the American Individual Replacement System. I'll see you there.